sponsored by the Legislative Black Caucus, also known as the LBC. My name is Dr. Carolyn McLaughlin, and I'm the chair of the LBC. And I'm happy to welcome you all here tonight. The LBC is a legislative voice for underrepresented communities in the Albany County. And there's a particular focus on BIPOC communities, that is Black, Indigenous, and people of color. And we're only one of two organizations such as this in upstate New York. And so tonight, this is just one of many events that, I'm sorry, they told me one thing and I did the exact opposite. But but this is just one of just two things, one of several things that we do throughout the year. The caucus has sponsored Black History Month program. Most recently, we had a roundtable discussion on public safety, Juneteenth, and we also sponsor an annual Martin Luther King food drive. So we do a number of things, and we're trying to educate the community about the caucus. And this is just another opportunity to do that with this second roundtable, where we're bringing together public officials, residents, community experts, and leaders to talk directly about issues that are affecting us here in Albany County. And our talk tonight, it will be focused on housing in Albany County, and especially in communities of color. Starting with redlining, equitable and affordable housing, all of this has been a core issue for Albany County for decades. With its housing agenda, the legislature is taking the lead in addressing this crisis, and community input is crucial for us to move forward successfully. That's why I'm so happy to see so many of you from different areas of the community here tonight. There's much to discuss, but again, I welcome everyone joining us in person and online tonight, and I encourage you to remain engaged by speaking to us on social media and on various accounts on our screens around the room. Now it is my pleasure to invite the Deputy Chairwoman of the Albany County Legislature, Wanda Willingham, to kick off tonight's discussion.
Good evening, everyone. And I also want to welcome all of you here and those that are watching us from home to the latest community roundtable that's hosted by the Legislative Black Caucus by Dr. Carolyn McLaughlin, who is the chairperson of the caucus. I'm Wanda Willingham. I'm the deputy chair of the Albany County Legislature, and I'm just so happy today to be joined by also so many other legislators and elected leaders, and that includes Ellen Rosano. Could you just, put your hand up. Tim Lane, William Reinhardt, Danielle Gillespie, Frank Commisso, Sue Rizzo, Ray Joyce, Maggie Alix, Bill Ricard, Sue Petto, Lynn Lakakis, Susan Larilliard. Did I miss anyone? Okay, God, I did really well. We also have Kevin O'Connor here, who is the executive director of the Alliance for Albany. But before we get started, I want to recognize and celebrate this moment. Tonight's discussion is just another step in a many years-long journey that I and many of my colleagues have been on, addressing a dire issue facing Albany County. Not just housing, but affordable housing that creates sustainable and vibrant communities. And I say another step because we intend on hosting more of these discussions with developers, lawmakers, and other industry experts to make sure we have a full picture of what Albany County needs to support its residents. Beyond meetings, the legislature is also taking action to directly help residents through our holistic housing agenda. As part of the agenda, we work with the county executive to create tax incentives for residents who improve their property with accessory dwelling units, otherwise known as ADUs. These tax credits support county residents who invest in and improve their property with small apartment-style improvements. This incentive can help keep aging loved ones close or create opportunities for young professionals to have their own space, but it also creates more housing stock all at the same time. As part of the agenda also, we worked with the county executive to create the first-time Home Buyer Navigator program with the primary purpose of removing the countless common barriers that first-time home buyers face. As part of this program, full-time employees will provide hands-on guidance to first-time home buyers about funding opportunities, the step-by-step process of purchasing a home, or expert advice and insight into the rehabilitation process of blighted properties. Those are just two impactful housing initiatives that are already taking shape. But tonight is our headline project, and it's our blockbuster, as we say, and this is our biggest hope. We aim to take the $1 million the legislature allocated for housing in last year's county budget. And I want to thank Sue Cartner and some others here in the room who came in front of us, in front of the legislature last year when we were trying to make sure that dollars were set aside for housing. And so this will increase its impact, this $1 million, we hope, 10 times more. We have a new local law that will make affordable housing a governmental purpose in Albany County and pave the way for the creation of a revolving loan fund. And we're particularly excited to talk about this evening. I think it will be a game changer here in Albany County, and that's just a teaser for the moment. More on that in just a little bit, but since we have a short window of time this evening, and we have a collection of these brilliant women right here, let's meet our panelists. First and foremost, I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and we're going to start with Sue Cartner. She leads the Affordable Housing Partnership here in Albany. Their goal is to strengthen neighborhoods and the financial independence of residents through advisement, financial resources, community organizing, and collaboration. They connect over 1,000 households a year to financial resources such as down payment assistance, good loan products, and energy efficiency programs. So, Susan, if you don't mind, could you just share a little bit about your history of working in housing in Albany County?
So I'm probably the oldest person in the room, and I've been doing it for a while. But the partnership got organized to help provide affordable mortgage loans to first-time home buyers back in the day when interest rates were 10%, right? So we were offering, I think, 7.5%, very exciting. But we've evolved over time because realizing that just good mortgages was not enough, to down payment assistance, helping people improve their credit scores so they can qualify for great loan products, and really helping people get prepared. In addition to that, working closely with the Albany Community Land Trust, and I'm really glad some of my colleagues are here, Valerie Alexander Mosley, to help get good housing available for our first-time home buyers, and particularly focused on a target block approach.
All right, thank you. Our next panelist is Arlene Way, who leads the Arbor Hill Development Corporation, which helps residents in Arbor Hill, North Albany, and all the way through to the West End with revitalization, quality of life issues, rehabilitation efforts, and pipelines to higher education. Arlene, the same question. Could you share a little bit about your history of working in housing here in Albany County?
Well, I've been involved with housing in Albany County, I guess, since 2015. Yeah. Not my original plan, but I was on the board of the Arbor Hill Development Corporation, and through circumstances, I found my way to being the director of the agency. And it's been an honor. I cannot say how important it is for me to be on the ground working with my community. I work, live, and worship in the communities that I serve. So it's just been an honor to be here, been an honor to be of help, and I look forward to doing whatever I can to help others.
All right, thank you very much. Finally, we have Sandra Young, who leads the Albany Housing Coalition. With the mission to end veteran homelessness, the coalition provides compassionate and comprehensive support to hundreds of homeless veterans through secure transitional housing, permanent housing, Section 8 housing vouchers, and ongoing assistance. Susan, just as with the others, could you share a little bit about your history of working in housing here in Albany County?
So I have been working in affordable housing for about the last 18 years, 8 of which have been here in Albany County. I've only been with Albany Housing Coalition for a year. Prior to that, I was with Catholic Charities Housing Office. Definitely a need here in Albany County for affordable housing.
All right, thank you. So excellent. And thank you, and most importantly, again, welcome. So I'm excited to hear your insights tonight, and since we are on a tight table, let's get right into things. To let everyone in on a little bit of a secret, we have met and spoken with all of our panelists previously about housing, especially affordable housing here in Albany County. During those conversations, you have all told us about programs that are unique to your individual organizations. So here's the first question, and we're going to start with Sandra. Can you take us through some of the details of those programs and how they address specific needs in Albany County? And Sandra, since your organization focuses on veterans, could we start with that, with you?
Sure. So we have a number of programs here in Albany County. We have a transitional housing program, so we're transitioning veterans from homelessness, preparing them to become housed. For some of them, we have 2 different programs. One is like a 90-day quick program. The other one, they can be up to 2 years. Some people, it's not a matter of just getting the house. We want them to be prepared to remain housed, so to address mental health, substance use, employment, and other things, barriers that may have prevented them from becoming housed, and we want to help them remain housed. So we have our transitional program. We also have many permanent housing residences as well. Most of our housing does come with case management to help people become successful and remain successfully housed. We have an employment program. Our employment navigator helps the veterans find employment locally, helps them with resume building, anything that he needs to prep them for jobs. He has a network of employers who are happy to employ veterans. He works closely with them, and he does everything from providing transportation to the interviews. We also have a small funds for if someone gets a job and needs some kind of special equipment, like steel-toed shoes or something like that, we can help them, bus passes to get to and from work. We also have a peer navigator who helps people if they have any kind of justice involvement or anything else that they need to connect with family or to make those kind of connections. And then we have a healthcare navigator as well. A lot of our referrals come from the VA, and most of them are VA connected, but not every veteran is VA connected or qualifies for VA services. So we have our healthcare navigator who can help them with healthcare navigation outside of the VA system.
Thank you. And so, Arlene, do I need to repeat the question, or you ready to go ahead?
I'll go. Okay, so what we do is, well, first let me just share this about my community and the needs that we are serving. We work with low-income, moderate-income households. The majority of the people that we serve tend to be the elderly, okay? But the thing is and what we do is specifically, we offer home repairs. The thing is that the work that we do is critical to homes not, I guess, falling into blight. Over almost 50% of the homes in my service area were constructed before 1939. You can walk through the neighborhood and identify several homes that are 100 years old and older. The thing is that because my community at this moment in time are where they are economically, they have to make difficult choices between, what they're going to spend their monies on. And sometimes the choice to make a repair gets set aside because it's more necessary to purchase medication or food. That is the bottom line of the situation that we're dealing with. So we provide grants to help people to secure the necessary assistance that they need. We provide technical assistance. We send people into the home to identify what work needs to be done. And we help identify contractors who have the capacity to do that work. We help with that. We assist with the application process. We meet people wherever they are in terms of their needs and make it happen. The other thing is that we have on staff a trauma-informed social worker because we never know what we're going to encounter when we go into the home. So we have someone who's able to assess if a homeowner or family member may have a medical condition that's not being attended to. We can help to make the connection. We have encountered a couple of instances where homeowners were falling victim to elder abuse. Okay, and so we've been able to identify that and help to develop a strategy for getting assistance in resolving that situation. We do Toys for Tots, right, every year. And so one day this father shows up. He's living in a shelter. He's just received custody of his children. There had been a horrible situation that had occurred in the family, and they came to us because we gave toys and they thought we might be able to be helpful. And we've been working with that family, and they are like in a completely different place right now. Still places to travel, they have a journey ahead of them. But I guess this is a sample of some of the things that we've encountered and the way we've assisted our families.
Susan?
So a couple of the programs that I want to highlight. You all are aware of the racial wealth gap in Albany County. So many Black families left behind because of a lack of wealth. Homeownership is still the chief way that Americans gain wealth in this country. So that's really been our purpose, working with a really great team of folks at our office to meet with families again where they are, just as you all have said, and helping them look at how can they get credit scores higher, how can they plan a budget to save more money towards down payment, and get them connected to the many resources that are there. So one of our favorite programs is the Charles Toohey Homeownership Fund that's available to provide down payment assistance to families of color who buy in urban communities in Albany County. So we're excited to offer that. That's been hugely successful and a great way to connect with families to help them gain wealth. The other thing that we're doing through the Land Trust is accessing resources at the state level, federal level, to help make housing more affordable. First-time buyers are usually a little nervous about buying a fixer-upper, right? It's enough to get into homeownership, let alone try to repair that darn plumbing. So we've been working pretty hard to do that with a very much of a focus block approach. Again, it's a little bit about the building stock, but it's also a lot about the community. When you're living on a block, as Arlene and Sandra are talking about, that has a lot of blight, it's hard to feel like that's really yours. So we want to encourage more investment in neighborhoods and housing, and through the Land Trust, we're doing that work. Once a family has purchased that home, we're working with them to access energy efficiency work. So again, housing affordability extends beyond that mortgage payment into what's that utility bill looking like. And again, that's a huge concern, trying to encourage people to access programs like the ones through New York State weatherization, the weatherization programs, NYSERDA programs, so that they can get their homes insulated, spend less money on utilities. So those are some of the programs we're working on, helping low-income families afford their housing.
All right, thank you. I am always so interested in discovering what others are doing out in our community, so I want to thank you for sharing. However, as we all know too well, success does not come without struggle. So I want to hear from you what is still standing in our way. So this is question number 2. And we're going to start with you, Arlene. What are some of the biggest obstacles impeding progress in addressing affordable housing in Albany County?
Well, we have to think about creating an environment that everybody and anybody would want to live in, okay? We have to look at we're in a situation where a number of our neighborhoods are deserts, food deserts, we have banking deserts, we have pharmacy deserts, we have all kinds of deserts. And if you want people to come and live or stay in a community, that is something that we're going to have to address. Everybody wants these things. Everybody deserves these things. When we talk about revitalizing downtown Albany and attracting people and looking at what we can do to make people want to be here, we need to give some thought to that. What are some of these things we need to have available to everybody? The other thing that we need to consider is when we talk about affordability, we need to look at what that really means, okay? Because there's some standards that don't work in my neighborhood. And one of the things that I look at is the work that United Way is doing with this program they call ALICE. They have a different way of looking at income and identifying what we should be considering. ALICE is asset limited income constrained employed. A lot of the people who are struggling financially are working, maybe even working multiple jobs, and still do not have the resources that they need to handle regular routine expenses. Not enough money to pay for utility bills, not enough money to buy food or the other necessities that are necessary to ensure stability, okay? And so if there's anything that could be done to reconsider policy for when we're looking at income eligibility, we need to take a look at that. And I would strongly suggest that we take a look at the work that the United Way is doing along those lines, because definitely adjustments need to be made. The current standard is not working.
Thank you. Susan, you're next.
I'll speak to the redevelopment of vacant blighting housing, and what the obstacles are there. So the Land Trust is picking up, fortunately for us, donated sometimes properties, and the market values after we finish the rehab are significantly lower than what we needed to invest in that property to make it good quality affordable housing. So that's sometimes called the appraisal gap, where it might cost you $350,000 to fix that house. That's about what Habitat, it costs them to build new construction, same kind of price to rehab a house as if it's brand new. But then the market value of that property might be $150 to $165. So again, the struggle is trying to find that gap funding so that we can do more rehabs. And I think that's one of the things that the Land Trust has really worked hard to do, is to continue to build, focus on reinvesting in the existing neighborhoods and housing, our built housing stock. and addressing things like lead paint and asbestos and mold and all that other good stuff. So again, just it costs a lot of money.
I would agree with both these ladies. We've done some development at Albany Housing Coalition. We recently opened 6 units on Clinton Avenue, and it was through COVID and some other things, many years in the making, and millions of dollars for properties that probably are certainly not worth that. I mean, it's worth it because we have 6 units of housing for veterans, but it takes a lot to develop a property, especially if you're a smaller not-for-profit, coming up with all the funding that you need in order to do it, going through the not in my backyard things and all of the city approvals and all of that kind of thing. So it's a long road to develop housing. It takes way too long. And also, to Arlene's point, we can't just be looking at housing. We need to be developing the community. So having the resources that the people who live in the community need, like banks, stores, access to health care and other things, those are important. People need those things in their community. And a lot of the people that are living in affordable communities, they might not have transportation and other things to get them outside of that community for those things. I know I don't want to have to take 2 buses to the grocery store and carry what I can home. So those are very important things. And the other thing I think is we have to revamp our system, because if you are a lower income person in the 30% AMI, you don't have the money for rent. And some of the parameters around that, and also what the FMR is and what assistance you can get sometimes through DSS and other things, it's not enough. We need more rental assistance programs to help people, more housing vouchers.
All right, thank you. So I just want to remind everyone tonight about this revolving loan fund. And we realize that, like I said earlier, that this is a lot to unpack. And so we want you to know our goal is to provide, again, financial support through different types of loans. And also, we aim to address the funding gaps in projects that aren't served by, by traditional lending. So we have another question here, question 3. And we're going to start with you, Susan, this time. And the question is, since this revolving loan fund is a new idea and just starting out, what advice would you give our administration team on what should be our top priorities? I know you've had a lot of experience working with housing funding. And so as we start with you, I just want you to remind you, should we focus on projects that rehabilitate blighted projects, new construction, or what do you think?
Yeah, so we do have to take the all of the above approach. But I do have I have a pet peeve right now. So we work with first-time home buyers, and they struggle with enough money for down payment, right? That person that earns the median income in Albany cannot afford the median priced house that's available in the county, right? So how do we make that work? Down payment assistance would be hugely helpful. People are buying houses in need of a lot of repair because they meet their price point, right? And that's a scary place to be, I already said. So again, money for repairs after they buy. And I think that's what Arlene's been talking a lot about in terms of the home repair programs that are available. But if families knew that there was help for once they purchase that property to fix that roof at an affordable loan amount from the county, that would be hugely helpful to them. They would feel a lot more confident in taking on that project. And again, with perhaps some guidance, and picking out a good contractor and all that good stuff, that they could successfully buy a house in need of repair. So those would be the couple of ideas, I think, from the perspective of the first-time home buyers that we're working with.
Okay, Arlene?
Well, I'm with Sue with the all of the above kind of thing, because we have such a tremendous need in our community. But I kind of lean towards dealing with the red X's, because they are a danger. Not only are they blight on the neighborhood, but we did a study with UAlbany a couple of years ago about where crime occurs. And it tends to happen around places like that. They are, those buildings are also home for people who want to come in out of the cold and sometimes do grilling and cause fires to happen. You know, so things happen that's not only a danger to that particular property, but have an impact on the rest of the neighborhood. One fire can take out 5 houses, can take out a whole block. My strong suggestion would be anything that we could do that could encourage the rehabilitation of those properties and make those available for home ownership. That would be a definite win-win because we would be restoring health to that neighborhood, to that community. I think that that would be a way to go. And I would also strongly suggest a block-by-block approach so that, you know, we're not hopscotching all over the place, but we know that eventually one whole block is going to be healthy and whole, and we can just keep going. Set a good standard, a new standard for living and being in communities. And when people drive through, they can see something that is pretty, okay, that is healthy and wholesome, where people will want to stay and people want to buy. That would be my vote.
Sandra?
I agree, it has to be a multi-tiered approach, and I think you're right. There are a lot of buildings with X's on them in the neighborhoods that we're in, and it would be wonderful to see something positive happen. And you know, for new homeowners, but also they could be income properties as well. Many of those are multi-unit, and they could be owner-occupied, and they could have income from that as well. So I think focusing on that is a great thing. And also repairs for homeowners, because a lot of people, if they're new homeowners, they don't have the money to make the repairs. And a lot of people may not have had home ownership even in their family. So there's a lack of knowledge on what it is to be a homeowner and what responsibilities you have as a homeowner and what things could go wrong.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I see that we have quite a bit of time left. And so what I would like to do is this. I want to give the audience an opportunity, if you like, to ask questions. So I'm going to take this mic. Bria? Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ask if you're allowed to speak. Don't speak longer than the panelists, please. The second thing is, I either want you to ask a question or make a comment, not both, okay? So, and I'm saying that because I want to give as many people in the room as possible an opportunity to voice their opinion. You're going to get 2 minutes, and when the 2 minutes is up, Bria shall hold up a sign, I don't know where she went, but she will hold up a sign, okay, that lets you know that your time is up. So those of you that wish to ask a question or make a comment, raise your hands now. Okay. All right. Hold on a moment. Say again? We might not get to everybody. Okay. Maybe you want to try to make it a minute if you want to be nice to the rest of the people in the audience, okay?
Hi, good evening. My name is Denise Thomas, and I live out in North Albany. My question is, when first-time home buyers, they get this new home, they're very excited. Now there's a contractor that comes and takes their money. What happens to the individuals then? They lost the house, and now how does the agency who gave them the house help them get the house? So, like I said, my daughter had a house. She had a contractor. She went through one of the companies here in Albany, Land Bank, Land Trust, What happened? We got a contractor, didn't know what he was about. We got a contractor, he robbed her, and now she doesn't have a house and her dream is gone. And this is the problem that we're facing here in Albany. You have contractors that are dealing in these programs who will come to these people and say, we are here to help you, and yet turn around and rob you. There's another woman in my neighborhood that happened to her the same way. So what is your organization going to do in regards to collaborating with contractors who are going to be honest with people who want to be first-time homeowners? I mean, she now has no dream to want a house anymore, and it's very sad.
And
Myself is a homeowner twice, and I bring it to my family to become homeowners.
Right, so the home repair program that we have right now is something where we are supervising the contractor. So we weren't involved, I don't believe, with the contractor that was, at least not our agency, that worked on your daughter's home. That's just not a great story. But we have an architect on board. We have a construction supervisor that monitors the work that's being done when people go through the home repair program that we do currently have, to just avoid exactly that. And we try to hire good people who can supervise contractors and not let people get ripped off like that. So we do have a foreclosure prevention program, and that is something where we do sit down with families to help them negotiate with their lender to try to keep the house, if that makes sense. Not always does it, like in tragedies like that.
All right, thank you. Hands?
Hi, I was very concerned that the federal government has taken money away from United Tenants, which was such a great resource for rental assistance. Are there going to be other avenues through the county that can help these agencies that really provide like grassroots assistance?
Right now, we're not looking into that. Excuse me. Right now, no. The answer is no. However, as time moves on, okay, and as this money hopefully appears and evolves, there may be a way in which we can get some money for particular agencies. That's going to take some thought and time to consider things like that. So we don't just make up our minds just at the drop of a hat. We have to figure out, number one, where their money is coming from, and at what pool and what committee and source of funding that we have that we could provide dollars for something like that. All right. Who has the mic? This way. This time over here. Hands over here. Right there on the end. Mm-hmm.
I'm not one for speaking in groups, but my name is Sandra McKinley, and I'm at work, and I'm trying to go through the land trust to get a home, and the rules are okay. You got to save a certain amount a month, to get this help. But what happens when I call myself the working poor, because by the time I pay rent, gas and light, car insurance, all these other bills, I really don't have anything left. And then saving the money, life happens that you have to dip in it, so now you done failed saving that money for the month. So is there any way that we at work can get assistance just by approving that we work, we pay our bills on time, we do this, we do that, to get assistance with buying a home?
So you might be referring, we have a small match savings program where we're helping, if you save $1, we give you $3 towards down payment. It's not enough money, I know, to help you with down payment. So we are trying to leverage other resources like the Reparative Housing Justice Fund for that. But we recognize everyone has setbacks. Everybody that we work with housing counseling has a setback. So it is a conversation, maybe we just extend another month to that match savings period. So we want to work with you, and you're not alone, as you know. Most families that we meet with are not in a great position to be able to save the kind of cash you really do need to have nowadays to buy. We're telling people if you can ideally have $10K towards home purchase, then you're finally in a good position. Well, that's pretty darn hard, to do, so.
Over here. Right here. Right here.
Bria.
Second row.
I so appreciate the work that you folks do. You are on the front line of what is not just a moral issue, but a macroeconomic one affecting the health of the entire city. The question that I have is the extent to which the work that you're doing is on the radar of the state apparatus. And I ask that because there's a California consultancy that's currently getting $1 million to hold workshops as to what to do with a $200 million investment in downtown Albany, whereas it seems to me that the answers are laid bare and manifest right here. And so I can't help, I guess, but be infuriated about, for example, the projects they're talking about when, for example, the blighted buildings that you reference have a direct impact on me as someone operating a business in Albany and also potentially affecting future customers. Is there a way that what you are doing can be positioned as eligible for the funding that I'm unfortunately watching be wasted as the state applies these funds?
Okay, so right now, we're not going to get into that. Because, all right, one, the county is not going to, we don't have a say-so right now as far as that is concerned, okay? And so until that all gets filtered out and we understand the different, there's committees and so forth and so on and how that money is going to be spent, I'm not on one of those committees right now, okay? And so I'm not comfortable in anybody up here answering that question or anybody else in the room in answering that question. Okay, so we're not gonna do that right now, okay? Wait, sit down. Okay, so, what, we do have, this is what I will allow, okay? Since the Legislative Black Caucus was a part of hosting as far as this is concerned, I'll let our chairperson, Dr. McLaughlin, come and,
No, this is what we can say about that. There's a survey that's online right now that you can go and fill out that gives your ideas about the money. If you're not able to attend the event that took place a couple weeks ago, you can go online and fill out this survey. And it's CAP is
okay.
.org, I think, is the website that you can go. CAP, so go there and you can fill out the survey.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So now, Ms. Lewin?
I don't think I need the mic. My question is a simple one. The X's that you talk about, I want to know what percentage of those are absentee landlords and what is a redress for that? Because we can start there.
Big percentage.
Anybody want to respond?
I can't say, but I will say this, a lot of people walk away from homes because they can't handle it, okay? And so that's why the work that we do with the repairs and rehab is so important, because when it gets out of hand, people leave. It becomes dangerous to stay there, and they don't have the money to fix it, and so they go, they leave.
I did all that. Okay. All right, so now in the back, in this, right here in the corner, Ms. Williams? Ms. Williams?
Just had a question about what the lady spoke about with United Tenants.
Like, what happens to those people who need that assistance and they can't get it, that may end up homeless? Because DSS is not helping them and they can't afford back rent. So what happens to those? The people who have kids, they end up on the street. We got a lot of homeless people now on the street. So I just wanted to ask, like, is there anything that can happen for them? Because I have a young lady here that would like to hear that, your answers.
Okay, so if you want to respond, then I'll respond to that also.
So besides United Tenants, there are several other agencies that provide emergency assistance in eviction prevention. Sometimes the Legal Aid Society can provide that. Catholic Charities also has some funds. We have some, but for veterans, you have to be a veteran. So there are some local, other than United Tenants. But everyone, unfortunately, is experiencing cuts, including, and not getting what they need, including DSS. So we're all in this together. We all try to help people as much as we can, and we're, fighting for every penny that we can get from the government.
All right, so let me just say this so that we do understand. First of all, this is just the first in a series of roundtables that we're going to hold on this. One of the things that we do realize is this, that there are many different aspects to housing, okay? They talked about quite a few of them, okay? We do realize that we have the unhoused, okay? We also haven't talked about seniors and what happens with them, and also renters, okay? We talked a lot about homeowners and the first-time home buyers and so forth. But there's many other aspects to this affordable housing. We still will have to deal with developers, nonprofits, for-profits, and the way in which we are going to spend this money. So tonight was just a first. And I want to say this. I am so glad to see so many people actually came out tonight. I'm very happy with the different questions and the comments that you are raising, because this is not going to be a very easy process, and we understand that. It took me years to get to this point where we are right now, and to actually start from $250,000 to go up to $1 million, and again, that's thanks to you all coming out and speaking at different forums that we have had, coming to public hearings and talking about the needs of the actual residents of Albany County. So what I want to say, and I want you to remember, is this. This is not the final roundtable. We are going to have more forums. And yes, we have not talked about the unhoused to the extent that we need to, because we only allotted an hour tonight for this. So those people that had us, which does represent, then we also have public housing and how that affects and how we collaborate with those different entities too and those organizations. There is much, much more to how we are going to combat this housing crisis. So when I ask for your questions, right now, if there's one thing that I would ask you to do, because we're moving towards the end of this, I would like for just 30 seconds, if there's something that you feel that has not been talked about, I don't want a whole dissertation on what you think we should do. I want you to just say, get 30 seconds, because I want to make sure, because I only got 9 minutes left. And that doesn't mean that 9 people get a chance to speak, okay? So I just want to hear right now, what do you think has not been addressed, should be addressed? Did you hear what I said? Okay? I said I got 9 minutes, and that doesn't mean that you each get a minute to speak. So everybody put your hand up.
Straight back in the green.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, my name is Jackie Powell, and I live in North Albany on Albany Street. My family is one of the oldest family on our block. My aunt is 80-something years old, and she's a senior citizen. And Albany County knocked out some houses and then shift her house, and now they're giving her a hard time. She's a proud woman, but she been displaced for over a year. She's been fighting with the city, and it's stressful, not just to her, but to us, because she's the oldest living relative that we have, and we feel she shouldn't be going through that. So how can your panel help my auntie?
Okay. All right, again, we're talking about a displaced resident, and I know who you're talking about, too. I know her very well, and I know where she is right now. Okay, next. Yes?
Hi, my name is Rose. I was listening to the lady and talking about the Catholic charities. They don't have no funding. I had a stroke and I've been out of work and I'm disabled. I worked 2 jobs before I had a stroke, and not nobody been able to help me. Now I'm about to become homeless, and I got 2 kids and a grandbaby. I tried Catholic charities, I did all that, and ain't nobody's willing to help me. The only reason why I still got a roof over my head is because my landlord been lenient with me, because he understand that I had a stroke. What do you do for people that worked half of all their life, and now a situation come and you go to try to get assistance and there's just nothing for them?
You'll talk to whoever can answer that, or answer it after we're over. All right, is there enough? So this is what we're going to do now. We're gonna wrap this up with our panelists, and we're gonna give you each a minute, to give a closing statement. And then afterwards, you see that these people are here. If you have questions that you want to put to them, you have every opportunity to speak with them afterwards. And I would just like to say thank you all for participating, with the understanding this is only the first, okay, in the community roundtable. And I've written down, and so have our other staff people written down a lot of things that have been talked about tonight, so that we can add to the next roundtable, and we will have different speakers covering different topics too. All right, so Susan, 1 minute.
Just thank you for being here tonight. I think that's really, it's just such a shame what's going on in Washington and the lack of resources that are coming in to our communities and the impact it's having in serving real people. So I think, again, there is some work that we can do collectively to argue for that kind of funding. So that, I guess that would be my last call to action piece, is that we really do need to have a united voice and speak out against the cuts that are harming everyone.
We're smart people. We've been in worse places. Okay, there have been times that have been worse than these. To the lady in the back who just raised that issue, please see me afterwards. But I think we should keep the conversation going. I think we should continue to talk to our legislators to see what we might be able to develop. But we've been in worse times, and so I won't give up on us. Let's keep talking, let's keep working, let's stay positive.
And I just say again, thank you for coming. It's great to see so many people. This is the community, your community. We're all invested in this community, and it takes all of us working together with our legislators to get the things done that we need done in this community. And I'm sure that we can do it. We just have to stick together.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Dr. McLaughlin to come up, and she'll give us a closing statement. But also, what I would like for you to do, I want our staff to hold your hands up. So any of you that have questions or thoughts, could you please stand up? Bria, they can't see you sitting down behind the pole. Okay. Where's Liam at? This is our staff. This is our chief of staff right here, Caitlin O'Brien. You have questions or you have comments, you can speak with any of them. They will take down your information. All right, Carolyn?
I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here and providing your input. Just know that anything that you said tonight has been recorded and will be utilized in the next steps that we take. It's so important that we hear from you, that it's not just top down, but it comes from the people. And what you have shared with us tonight, I think you will see that we heard you with the next initiatives that we come out. Look forward to continuing to share the Legislative Black Caucus with you so that then you can be a part of any decisions that we make. Thank you so much, and we appreciate the time and energy that you took to share with us this evening.